What up, though? Hola, mi gente. It's your host from the neighborhood, the streets the most, J Hodge with InYourHood.com, and welcome to another news segment of Hood Sites. And you already know what we're doing: disrupting the information that you do not know and giving you more knowledge, more insight, extensively on information and knowledge that you may know a little bit about. But for the most part, we're plugging you with information. Because like I said, each news segment is a very selective article out of the hundreds of articles that I do read. And seeing as I start my morning off at 4:30 in the morning, I do a lot of readings. And so I choose one that I feel like is most beneficial. Now, on to the next. You already know, like I always say, this is for the people who don't seek information and don't make the decision to source out information, again, to get ahead of what's to come, to have that foresight. And then, again, this is for the people who time constrained. They just don't have enough time to sit down and read and source out information. So, this is for the both. And we're going to make sure we plug you the information you need. Now, you already know what time it is. It's insider time. It's insider time. Now, the theme of the insider has been inflation. That will not change. That will continue. It's a waiting game. It's a month by month game. And with inflation, you have to just wait and see as a investor and as a consumer what's going to happen or what is happening around you. Gas prices, for example, because of that hack with Colonial Pipeline, who just recently paid $5 million in a settlement to get the pipeline back on par and up to its normal levels, may still have some effect on the gas and oil prices. So they may still be sitting above $3 per gallon. And on the opposite side, as an investor, they may still be around that $66, $67 range per barrel of oil. So on both sides, there's risks. Risk because inflation is going to demean and devalue the dollar. And of course, the Federal Reserve, if inflation gets too hot, too heated, then them interest rates is going to return. And they're going to have to come in and execute the monetary policy that they said they was going to have on hold until 2025. So there will be no more enjoyment of that 0 to 2% interest rate. So with that being said, aside from inflation, like I said, we just got to play the month-to-month game. See how the summer play out and see how going back after the summer, going into the fall, into the end of the year, what inflation is going to end up being. But you have to be proactive. You have to make decisions. Either you're going to save or you're going to spend. Either you're going to invest or you're going to sell. Whether you invest or a consumer, it affects you all the same. So that's why you can't not pay attention to it. But aside from that, I want to talk about something else. Something that's happening right up under our noses, right up under our chins. Virtual reality and what they call augmented reality or spatial reality. This is the next major technology that's going to transform everything as we know it today. And seeing as we already have communities that's already underserved, already impoverished and in extreme poverty, those are going to be the communities that's not going to be able to get involved in VR and AR, as they call it. And right now, you have to have foresight of this industry because one, you got to get invested. Two, you have to acquire a skill digitally or technologically to assume the positions that are to come. Because with virtual reality and augmented reality, what it's doing is it's cutting costs for businesses because everything can be done through a digital environment created by a device. This year, Apple is releasing its glasses, virtual reality, augmented reality glasses. Google is cited with having an eyewear for virtual reality and augmented reality. But everybody knows about them headsets, the virtual reality headsets. That soon will be replaced with these glasses. But virtual reality in itself is going to affect and impact, it's going to transform education. It's going to transform healthcare. It's going to transform every sector you can imagine. Education, healthcare, the automotive industry, any military, Air Force, that whole industry, the defense industry. And then also, when you talk about having employees and trainings, that's being done through virtual reality. So less people are going to end up being needed for certain positions because they're going to be replaced by technology, and it's really happening. So virtual reality and augmented reality is going to have to be paid attention to, because when you talk about cash, this cryptocurrency is real and it's connected right to that. Because if we get to a virtual augmented reality, augmented reality economy, there's going to be no more cash to spend because everything is going to be done digitally. Also, another industry, travel industry. Virtual reality and augmented reality is going to impact travel industry because of where the technology is able to place you inside any environment that you want to be in at any given time. So if you've never been to, for example, if you've never been to the Maldives, if you've never been to Ghana, if you've never been to Kenya, virtual reality and augmented reality will be able to let you see and hear and touch and even sense what it's like to be there. So imagine what else is going to be able to be fulfilled through virtual reality and augmented reality. And it's already happening. Companies are already using it. They're using it with autistic kids. They're using it to treat mental health patients. They're using it in the medical field for surgeons and to train nurses and doctors. And it's happening. But it's happening quietly. It's so settled. So, being that it's so settled, it has to be closely traced and tracked because it will affect us, and it will affect us from an exclusion standpoint, meaning we will face technological discrimination and prejudice as a cultural group, and that cannot happen. Our black children has to be technologically sound and advanced for what's coming, and it's already here. It's already rolling. It's already operating. It's just more institutions are slowly but surely picking up virtual reality and augmented reality in their business and utilizing it to cut costs and cut time and get and minimize the room of error, because it's going to make for a better for better productivity when somebody knows how to handle situations, because the virtual reality or the augmented reality put them in that environment by putting on this headset, these goggles, or putting on these glasses and being able to utilize that. The government has already bought into it. Microsoft has a government contract with the United States government, of course, to provide augmented reality and virtual reality products and services to, of course, the defense in this country, the army, the military. So it's going to extend further than that. Schools are going to be going this way. Schools are going to be modern in this way. Everything is about to get modernized in a way that people may never thought before. But it's here now. So we have to get involved. So make sure, in addition to checking out everything that's surrounding inflation, make sure that you also pay attention and be aware and be conscious and be aware of virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR, because it will impact you also financially, because as a consumer or a essential worker, you will soon be replaced. They will need less people to get more work done. It's coming. But at the same time, it's already here. But today's news segment is entitled, City of Newark begins 2-year guaranteed income pilot program, and it's a step in the right direction. Continuing. A 2-year pilot program providing low-income Newark, New Jersey residents with guaranteed income through cash payments kicked off Monday for the first 30 people. Continuing. Beginning this week, 30 Newark residents will begin receiving $6,000 per year in guaranteed payments. Newark Mayor Ras Baraka was more than happy to announce residents will begin receiving cash payments with no strings attached and no work requirements. Continuing. And this is Mayor Ras Baraka, the mayor of Newark, his actual words. And quote, "Today, I'm proud to announce that Newark has taken a historic step towards economic justice by launching the Newark Movement for Economic Equity. Newark's guaranteed pilot program aimed at giving recurring cash payments to Newark residents," Mayor Ras Baraka said Monday, according to NBC New York. Guaranteed income is a catching trend across the country. Pilot programs have been proposed and launched in Stockton, Oakland, and Compton, California, Newark, and Atlanta to help lift city residents out of poverty. Many of these programs are giving cash to low-income residents to supplement their incomes. Continuing, Newark's program focuses on residents that are housing insecure and will soon expand to help 400 residents. The program is currently funded by private donors such as Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, who pledged to fund guaranteed income programs in 15 United States cities. Continuing. The payments will also vary, as some residents will receive a smaller amount each month and others will receive 2 early yearly payments of $3,000. The Newark Movement for Economic Equity will track what residents will spend the funds on. Continuing, according to data from Stockton's program, participants were able to pay down debts, cover unexpected expenses, and their mental health improved. Additionally, the program debunked the GOP myth that people receiving free money will not work. And continuing. One of the main findings in the program was that people receiving the money were able to create new opportunities for themselves, including goal setting and finding employment. Newark residents can begin applying for the program in July, which will be open to residents 18 and over whose income levels are at or below 200% of the federal poverty threshold. End of article. And again, today's news segment was titled Newark, City of Newark begins 2-year guaranteed income pilot program, and it is a step in the right direction. Now what we have is what is possibly a soft launch of what has been a topic of discussion for decades to come, which is reparations. Now, would this be considered reparations? To some, maybe. But if you are a taxpayer citizen, then you are getting basically a subsidy in return for you working and stimulating the economy of your city. That's how I see it. But is it a transformative program? Yes. Is this program targeted specifically? Yes. Does it specifically state who are the people that's going to be targeted in this program? No, but we already have an assumption of who those people are. Black people. And what I wish they would do is just say it. Just say it. Just say we are actually creating a program that will assist black people. So, with that being said, is it a step in the right direction? Yes, but there's a caveat. There's a condition. They're going to track what you spend the money on. So, of course, that's going to be used as not only research data, but political data. Because if that money is misappropriated in any way, then that's going to go back to the old political debate that if you give people money, they ain't going to want to work for nothing. And when they say they, we know who they talking about. But the only thing is that they are delusional to think that the same cultural group that built and founded this country will not work for riches and wealth, when that's been our fight since the establishment of the United States of America. And that 1776 Constitution that says, we the people, and they meant white people. Freedom for all, and they meant all white people. So, with that being said, this is something that can have, yes, a positive effect, but education still is a missing piece, because what people are able to do with that money, other than consume it, spend it on consumption, is being educated on the different investment options available, or saving that money. Investing some and saving some, or investing it all. But yes, this is a catalyst that can spur growth, global economic growth. You know why? Because in order for the United States of America to be a dominating global market leader, everybody in the country has to participate in wealth. Everybody in the country has to participate in economic activities and drivers. There cannot be no exclusion. So you can consider this what Malcolm X said, the chicken's coming home to roost, or more simply, an epiphany that this country will not win without its original people, black people. Won't win without the natives. There's no way that economy can compete without most of its population being involved in economical activities. So, although this is a great initiative, and I see the intent and what it can do, but there is still a disparity in education, because money given is useless without a purpose for that money. That money has to have a purpose, and it cannot be used for just strictly consumption. Even when it comes to paying down debts. That's one thing that, again, education, an educational piece that's missing, because every state has a statute of limitation on debts. So paying a debtor that you owe after several years is an illegality on that debtor who's trying to collect the debt. Like I said, there's a lot of education to be had, but it does provide more opportunity for more home ownership, which is needed, and more wealth, which is a necessity. Because the only way there can be competition globally is if everybody is involved. But it still doesn't eliminate racism, and it still doesn't eliminate prejudice and discrimination. Because it's for the simple fact, what still remains is where our cultural group chooses to spend that money is ever so important. So although it's being given, it has to be kept in the community and invested for families to actually benefit in the long run. Because this is a short-term plan, but there needs to be long-term education. But a step in the right direction, for sure. Indeed, I agree. That helps. Having extra residual income always helps. Residuals always helps. But there's still education. Education is needed to have a plan and a purpose for the residuals. It cannot sit and it cannot go to consumption, because consumption doesn't give you any return. Your money is just siphoned. That's it. Your money goes one way, horizontally. You don't want your money to be spent horizontally. In our cultural group, our cultural morals, values, and principles has to be focused on vertical spending. Things that will continue to have our money build on top of it, on top of each other. Build on top of itself. But a step in the right direction. So again, this is another form of cultural power, because obviously there has been some real work and some real activism done for the city of Newark to come to this realization and to have this program initiated. So there had to be, like I said, some real cultural challenges, constraints, and issues that created a cultural solution such as this. Because we all know who this impacts. And we all know anything that's happening as far as a technological advancement or economic downfall. It all affects our cultural group, and we have to be proactive in having more cultural creative solutions to protect ourselves against these sort of fluctuations and events that do happen in society that affects our money. So with that being said, like I always say, visit the website www.inyourhood.com. On the website, explore every aspect of the website. We have 24/7 live streaming episodes of our digital television show, Where's Jay Haas, A Journey in These Streets. We also have 24/7 live streaming lecture videos for you to get, again, plugged with information. And we also have Black History, the true essence of Black history. All the figures that you've never heard of or you may be familiar with, but for the most part, it's your duty to know everybody possible. And then we have global Black news, and then, again, domestic Black news. And then we also have Black businesses listed on the site that you can get familiar with, and we're forever seeking and pursuing other Black businesses of all industry types. We don't have no specific type. We're looking for everybody of all industries, and there is no exclusion. It's all inclusive, all Black owned. And like I always say, I'm gonna get on y'all tomorrow.